Hello and welcome to ETG's The State of Play, the show where we ask what on earth is going on and when and where can I travel to Asia. I'm Sam, I'm the co-founder of Experience Travel Group, and I'm here with my fellow co-founder, Melissa, the all-round travel geek in our office. Melissa, how's it going?
Yeah, well, despite the obvious news, December's always a bit of a unique time in the travel industry. It's typically the quietest time of year for new inquiries, but the busiest for people travelling. And we've also been busy, obviously, helping people navigate the new testing rules and so on, and making sure their trips can go ahead smoothly. So, yeah, it's going okay at the moment.
And we were going to treat everyone to an exclusive preview of your new Christmas cardie, weren't we?
Yes, unfortunately, it still doesn't have any sleeves because I've been so busy trying to get my head around all the rules and yeah, making cakes for my kids to take to school and so on. So I've got a Christmas cardigan with an arm missing, which I didn't think I should wear.
Yeah, so viewers are going to have to take the Christmas part of this show as read, I'm afraid. So let's let's go straight to our overview, where you have 60 seconds to tell everyone what the headlines are, what the news is in travel for in Asia.
Okay, so some good news to start with. It's finally been announced this week that Laos will be opening from the 1st of January. The current arrangement involves taking a PCR on arrival and staying in your hotel for 24 hours until results are obtained. But there's a plan to reduce that to a quicker lateral flow test shortly. It's very exciting news as Laos is such a special destination. Next up, I think it's probably worth saying that lots of people are actually managing to get away on some really great and long anticipated holidays this month. And that's despite the new requirements to re-enter the UK. We've got quite a few people travelling, mainly in Sri Lanka and the Maldives, out there as we speak. We have sadly had a couple of people had to cancel close to departure due to actually getting COVID. But thankfully they're all well. And I think the sort of important thing to note is that travel insurance is generally now pretty comprehensive, and they've all been covered. So I suppose this shows that the testing procedures do work. They're enabling people to keep travelling and to do so safely.
Indeed, indeed. Thank you, Melissa. That's great. So from the check-in to the departure lounge, we were really buoyed by the news about Laos. So just wanted to talk a little bit more about that. So was that a surprise, Melissa?
It was a slight surprise. We did anticipate it as a bit of a knock-on effect from neighbouring Thailand and Cambodia reopening, but it did sort of then suddenly come out of the blue. So yeah.
And what are the details for what are the entry requirements?
Well, we've only just heard about it really, but by the look of things, the pre-travel process looks pretty similar to our other destinations. You need a vaccination certificate if you're over 18. And it seems that anyone over 5 needs a negative PCR test 72 hours before travel. And then, like Thailand, there's a PCR test on arrival, and you wait in your hotel until you get the results, and then you're free to travel within what they're calling a green zone.
And what does the green zone cover?
As I understand it, first of all, it covers Luang Prabang and the capital Vientiane, which are the sort of main ports of call for most visitors, really. I think now could actually be a terrific time to visit Luang Prabang in particular. It's a really magical place, but a bit like somewhere like Angkor Wat in Cambodia. It's one it's quite often quite busy. So I think sort of the next few months could be a terrific time to go there and see it without the crowds, really. The Green Zone also appears to cover several other more remote areas in the countryside. For example, Champasak district, which is down in the south, and that's sort of where you go for the 4,000 islands. I also believe places like Nong Keo and Pat Beng in the north are included. And what that means is that river journeys along the Mekong should be possible. That's like a terrific way to really get a feel for the incredible scenery and slow pace of life that is so unique to Laos. And yeah, it's one of my favourite countries. It's a bit under the radar, and I think it's just one of the most beautiful places, kind of like nowhere else on earth, really. So yeah, really excited about the news.
Yeah, and those images shown there just really say it all, don't they? So, what's the catch? Is there any catch with Lao?
But I'm not sure it's a catch, but it looks like the initial entry points are only going to be Vientiane, the capital, and Luang Prabang. airports, so air travel, coming in by air travel. So border crossings from Thailand might not be possible to begin with. The catch, I suppose, is there are currently no flights. However, as was the case in Cambodia, we're pretty sure that flights will get up and running now the news is in place. These things usually happen sort of pretty quickly.
Yeah, I mean, they can't have flights up and running before this news is announced, so it stands to reason, doesn't it?
Yeah.
That they get them out afterwards. So good, that's really good. So I did just want to touch on some more general confusion in the travel world, which seems to be affecting a lot of people right now. And it's this issue where once you've recovered recently from COVID, you can still test positive on a PCR test, I think up to sort of 3 months afterwards. And that's affecting pre-travel PCR tests and so on. Can you tell us a bit more about that?
Well, I'm not sure I can shed that much light on it really, but so what we're talking about is the issue of people potentially testing positive for COVID on a pre-travel PCR test up to 90 days after they've had COVID, despite having essentially completely recovered and posing no risks to anyone. So not all countries have come up with a sensible solution to this yet. So it's causing quite a lot of controversy in the travel industry. Sri Lanka do seem to have come up with a sensible way around it though, and they have a provision for people who've had COVID in the last 3 months. So hopefully some other countries will follow suit and make that a little bit easier for people who've recovered from COVID.
Brilliant. Okay, and just before we go, could you sum up where we are for travel right now to our destinations in Asia? What's possible?
So you can go to Sri Lanka, you can go to the Maldives, and you can go to Oman, and you can also go to Thailand and Cambodia. There's different testing requirements for each one, but they're all open and you can travel within them. And obviously, as I just mentioned, Laos will be open from the 1st of January, so that's pretty imminent.
Well, that's all we've got time for today. But don't forget, you can sign up to be the first to know by clicking on the link around this video, wherever you're watching us. And we'll see you again after Christmas now in early January. But if anything major changes, we will let you know. So that's it for 2021. What a year. Happy Christmas from me.
And from me.